Well, welcome to our series, Monsters Within. This episode is for the Enneagram 1 that is sick and tired of the inner monster of irritation haunting them day in and day out. So, if you are an Enneagram 1 and you want to know what to do with this annoying, disruptive monster of irritation, stay tuned because we have got a great episode for you. This is 9 in 9 Enneagram Wisdom for Life. Let's dive in. Now, if you're an Enneagram 1, or if you know an Enneagram 1, you know that ones are responsible and conscientious. They work with a lot of integrity and they thrive in structure and having control. They are so good at putting together a plan and of executing that plan and of really taking everything in their world up a notch. I mean, that's the way a 1 is wired, right? Whatever a 1 is seeing, whether their attention is on themselves or whether it's on the environment around them or even the world at large, the 1 is able to spot quickly what could be better, what needs reformed, what needs improvement. Some common beliefs that the 1s carry are that mistakes are bad and should be punished. And that sounds harsh, but that is truly one of the lenses that a 1 will see through, is that mistakes are intolerable, really. Another common belief is the value of holding high standards. They hold a high standards for themselves, for the people around them, for the world at large. And honestly, it can be very frustrating as a 1 when other people don't meet those standards or when they themselves don't meet those high standards of moral integrity and of excellence. Another core belief that a 1 carries is that anger is an emotion that should not be expressed. And if you've been following this podcast for any number of months, you know that the 1 comes from that body triad, and the body triad has a core underlying motion of anger. And so as a 1, that's really hard because they've got an underlying core emotion of anger that's kind of always wanting to be activated. But as a 1, they feel that anger is not an okay thing to express to the world. It's not good. It's not okay to express anger. So, what happens to the anger? Where does it go? Well, typically we find that 1s will repress the anger, and they will repress the anger, deny it to such a degree that it gets so smashed down that it becomes almost a refusal to even acknowledge that they feel angry. Now, if a 1 is honest, they will, if they can sit with it long enough, they can say, yep, you know what? There is anger under there. But sometimes it's stuffed so far down that the 1 feels so inappropriate having anger as part of their makeup that they just refuse to acknowledge it altogether. The problem with that is that the anger has to come out somehow. It's there and it needs to be expressed. And so typically it will come out in this little demon called irritation. So sometimes we even say it's irritated anger. If you ask a 1, are you angry all the time? They'll probably say no. If you ask a 1, are you irritated a lot? Do you experience irritation? They can usually relate to that. Because think about it. If, as a 1, you're living in the world and you're wanting to improve everything around you, if you look to everything and you see all the ways that it's not quite perfect, it's not quite living up to the standards, that could just be so frustrating. Frustrating with yourself. Like, you are constantly striving for this good enough standard that can't very easily be met. And then, of course, you've got other people held to that standard in the world at large, and it just is exhausting. And so your anger ends up coming out in this form of irritation. And so, what that looks like when irritation is trying to kind of haunt you, it looks like being really critical. It looks like being irritable and demanding. It can look like being tense and non adaptable. I know these are not monsters that we really want to acknowledge in our life. But here is the good news. The monsters are not going to thrive once we bring them into the light. It's just like everything else. Things that stay in the dark have power that they haven't earned. And so we have to bring things into the light in order to take that power away. The first step of bringing this monster of irritated anger into the light is just being able to recognize it. Part of the Enneagram work that is so simple and yet so difficult is just being able to step outside of ourselves and being able to be a good self observer, a non judgmental observer of what's really going on. And so, your first step, Enneagram 1, is to allow yourself to notice the anger and to notice you feeling that urge to have a reaction of anger to whatever situation is going on at the time. Now, when that happens, you're then in the position to say, okay, where is this anger coming from? Why am I feeling this? And then you're going to be able to notice, okay, maybe I am holding myself or the people around me to a perfection standard. Or maybe the gap between where things are and where I think they should be is so big that I just feel like there's nothing I can do about it and I can't control it. And it just makes me angry. When you can see what's going on and when you can bring it to your conscious mind, when you've brought that into the light, then you have the choice to be compassionate to yourself and to others. And you have the choice to tell that critical voice that is doing nothing but showing you all the ways that things are coming up short, that it's okay for it to soften, for it to be a little bit quieter, that who you are and the effort that you're giving and what you've done is good enough and that you are okay right where you're at. Now, as a 1, will you always be striving to make things better? Probably, yes. But it's the softness that you can offer yourself, the gift of compassion that will fight off that irritation that wants to sabotage you, and it certainly wants to sabotage your relationships. The ultimate goal for the Enneagram 1 is to move away from irritation and anger and resentment towards the virtue of the Enneagram 1, which is serenity. Serenity is being at peace with yourself and the world the way it is. It is allowing your body to stop being so tense. It's allowing your body to relax and be safe in the present moment as it is. Now, I know this might feel like a big journey to move from irritation and anger all the way over here to serenity and still hold on to those high ideals. But as a 1, this is your work. This is the path that will lead you out of self sabotage, that will lead you out of those relational sinkholes that are happening over and over again, is moving away from irritation and towards serenity. I have this little cheat sheet here for all of the types about moving from their vice to their virtue and just a few simple practical steps that you can do to move towards that. If you'd like to have a copy of this, it's just a simple PDF. I'll ask you to just go to the show notes and you'll find it there. Okay, happy fall, Enneagram 1. And I hope that you chase those monsters straight out of the shadows and into the light. Hey, if you're tired of those inner monsters causing you to self-sabotage and hurt yourself and others, I would love for you to join my Enneagram class called Designed for More. We're getting started on October 20th. It's just a 5-week class, but in it, you're going to learn all about your Enneagram number and all the ways that you were designed to live a life of peace, abundance, and love. As a podcast listener, you're going to get a discount of $99 when you use the discount code podcast. So go to the show notes and join us for this 5-week class on the Enneagram called Designed for More.